Right, so after a good few years of faithful service, my Wanderer premium camp chair from BCF has finally packed it in. So for the last few weeks, I've been looking for a new camp chair, and I think that I've found maybe the best chair that I've ever bought. All right, so you guys know that I have been running the Wanderer premium camp chair straight off the shelf from BCF for the better part of the last 4 or 5 years. And I actually came across a chair from a brand called Naturehike. Now, I've never seen these things before, but I thought for the price tag of this thing, I'm going to give it a crack. All right, so firstly, I just want to run you guys through why I want to go with an ultralight setup. So firstly, the camp chairs are a pain in the neck all the time. Whenever you go to pack your car or pack your trailer or pack whatever you're going to pack up, camp chairs are always one of those things that are just always left to the last minute, and you're trying to find a place for them. You end up just throwing them on top and hoping they don't just break anything when they're traveling around. So that's the first reason. Second reason is the weight. I don't know if anyone else has been out there and had to carry 4 camp chairs at once to, you know, a football game or something like that. They're a pain in the ass. These things are super light and super compact, which is the second reason that I like the idea of an ultralight chair. Right, to start off, we'll just go over a few features of the bag itself. Now, the bag is a really solid and durable material. You've got a grab handle on each end of the bag stitched onto the fabric, and then you've also got a zipper that runs the whole length and curls around the outside of the bag. Simple as that, and you can peel down the front. You've also got the Naturehike logo stitched onto the front of the bag as well, which is a nice little touch there. But the zipper really does make it that easy to pull your whole chair out and get set up. Now I'll grab out everything from the bag so you guys can see exactly what comes with it. First thing that comes out is the little attachable feet that come with the chair. Now, the company actually calls these anti-sink feet, so they're designed to stop you from sinking into the mud. If you are on some sort of muddy surface, this chair won't sink down and get stuck in the mud. Second thing I'll take out is the material itself. So this is actually the material of the chair that goes over the frame. Now, the material of the chair is a 600D Oxford fabric, which is really, really durable. You can just tell that by feeling it. And the last thing I'll pull out is the frame itself. Now, this thing is super lightweight, all made of aluminium and plastic clips with a couple of bungee cords in there as well. Now, one thing I will say about the frame, it comes with this little bungee cord to try and keep it all together. And I mean, it does the job. It keeps everything sort of together, but it is a bit loose. Now, from what I can tell for these ultralight camp chairs, they all go together relatively the same way. Most of them all have bungee cords inside the poles, and it's as simple as putting all the poles into the holes, the bungee cords taking up the slack, and it goes together in about 10 seconds. Now, I actually pinched this tip from the Outdoor Gear Review, but if you use this bag, you can actually use the 2 loops on either side, go over each of these poles, and then you've got your own pocket or little pouch underneath the sitting level of the chair. Now, when it comes to putting the fabric on the chair, these are all, from what I can understand, pretty well the same, and they are all pretty straightforward. Start at the top, and you've got little slots where your poles are going to just slide straight into. Now, some of these things do take a little bit of strength, I've noticed, especially when you get down to the last pole. It's not overly strenuous, it's just a little bit more so than you'd expect from a folding chair, and that's how it goes together. Now, putting the chair together is pretty easy, but I will quickly just say, coming from a folding camp chair setup, it does take a little bit of getting your head around, because you're not actually folding it, you're actually assembling it every time you set the chair up. Now, when it comes to the comfort of the chair itself, it's actually blown me away at how comfortable this chair is. I really didn't know what to expect with an ultralight chair coming from foldable camping chairs. If I had to give it a rating between 1 and 10, this would have to be up there with an 8 or 9. It has a lot of support in the back, a lot of support underneath, and it doesn't actually come out as far as a lot of the camp chairs that I've had in the past, where the material sits right up under your legs and sort of cuts into your legs. It would be up there with one of, if not the most comfortable camp chairs I've ever owned. All right, let's go over a few specs of the chair to give you an idea of what it is. So firstly, Naturehike do this chair in 2 colors. They do a green and a yellow. They call it a yellow, but it's more of a sort of a tanny yellow orange sort of color. It's actually really cool, and it does look really awesome. What I have obviously is the green version. It's actually slightly darker than it appears on the website, but it is a really nice looking green. All right, so in terms of the materials used in the construction of the chair, The frame poles are made of a 70-75 aluminium alloy, and they're all held together with plastic reinforcement. Now the chair material itself is a 600D Oxford fabric, and on the sides you've got a polyester mesh that just allows a little bit of ventilation and airflow through the sides. When it comes to the dimensions of the chair, you've got 400mm deep by 300mm wide by 700mm tall. So obviously those measurements are all in metric. If you're using the imperial or you're not using the metric system, I'll chuck in all those measurements in inches on the screen now. And the big seller and the big talking point for all of these ultralight chairs is always going to be the weight. So this chair actually comes in at a shade over 1 kilogram, depending on exactly where you weigh this thing and exactly how much mud you got on it. Now, in terms of all the bells and whistles that this camp chair has, or other camp chairs have rather, there's no extras, there's nothing to get caught in the bag, nothing to get caught during the pack up, there's no pockets, there's no stubby holders, there's no bottle openers. It's just a straight, simple chair that is really comfortable, that has none of the extra flash that goes along with some of the other advertised camp chairs out there. Now, if I'm honest with myself, I struggle to remember a time where I'm really looking for a side pocket in a camp chair or a side table in a camp chair. Oftentimes, if I'm sitting around on a camp chair, I'm holding a can of drink, or I'm holding a coffee, or my dinner usually rests on my lap. So I do sort of struggle to remember times where I've actually needed a table or a side pocket. All right, so let's go over the anti-sink feet. Now I keep these in the original plastic bag that they came in, and this is pretty much all they are. They're a little ball that goes on the end of the feet of the chair, and the idea is that they're going to sit off at an angle, push down into the mud, and it's not going to let the legs push down and sink and get stuck. All right, so what we've got here is just a very sort of soft and a little bit boggy section of mud on the side of this dam where we're filming at the moment. They're pretty easy to put on. I'll show you how to snap them on. Simply go over the end of your feet and snap on. Then you've got 4 anti-sink feet covering up your legs of your chair. All right, so I'm not sure why you would even think of setting yourself up on a surface like this. It's really sticky, really boggy. So let's just see how good these feet go on mud this soft. Wow, that is super sticky. So, I mean, just looking at those legs from the chair, they're definitely doing their job. The feet are actually pushing down into the mud, but they're actually pushing the mud out, which is stopping the chair from actually sinking down to the seat itself. So hopefully you can see from the chair behind me what those anti-sink feet have actually done. They've spread the load of the chair so that when you sit down in it, yes, it sinks down and it pushes those feet into the mud, but it doesn't let you get so low as you let the pouch fall into the mud or the chair itself. All right, so let's quickly talk about the price. Now, that top of the range chair that I was looking at earlier in the year came to $230, and I just wasn't willing to pay that for a chair that was only going to get used over the weekends. So the biggest draw to this chair was definitely the price, and I grabbed this chair from Amazon for 85 bucks. Absolute mental price difference, nearly 3 times cheaper than the very expensive brand that I was looking at earlier in the year. And to be quite honest with you, I really could not tell the difference apart from the branding and a couple of different color variations. Chairs stack up very, very similar with each other. So what is my actual opinion of the Naturehike Ultralight camp chair? Look, honestly guys, for the value for money that I can see in this thing, I think this is up there with one of the best value for money ultralight camp chairs on the Australian market. It definitely comes in at one of the lowest price points on the Australian market, but it's definitely not sacrificing any quality whatsoever. Obviously, this is only a first look review. I've used this chair about a dozen times. So obviously after about 6 months, I want to jump back in, have a look at the chair, go over it once again and see if it's going to stack up and measure up to long-term use. So make sure you stay tuned for that video. But what do you think about this chair? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. As far as I'm concerned, this is an easy, cheap, light, small option for a camp chair that ticks all the boxes in my setup. Let me know if it'll work in your setup and let me know what you think at a first glance of this camp chair. Thank you very much for sticking around till the end of the video, guys. Now, as I promised at the start, I've got a very special offer for everyone that stuck around this long in the video. I have launched a new ebook. It's a rundown on dual battery systems, how they work, to let you understand a little bit more about your dual battery system if you're planning on putting one in, or if you have a simple dual battery system, or even a complex one. It'll give you a little bit more of an understanding on how the system works and how to hopefully fault find or diagnose if anything was to ever go wrong. For a limited time only, it is absolutely free to our subscribers on YouTube and our followers on Instagram and Facebook. I'll leave a link down in the description box below, guys, if you want to check it out. Thank you very much for staying to the end of the video, and thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I love yous all. Get out and about, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.